All right, so Scribe, come on up. Vendor Spotlight.
Thank you. All right, so let's see if I can run the microphone and this little remote here at the same time. Oh, it works, good. All right, so welcome everybody. My name is Scott Cloutier. I am from Scribe. I'm joined today by two other coworkers. Rich Rodacy, he's going to be my technical extraordinaire up here when he gives a demo of our product. And then we also have Charles Lewis with us. He's an account executive. He's right in the audience. So if afterwards you have any questions for us, we can certainly answer them for you. So just a show of hands, who has heard of Scribe before? Oh, good. Well, lots of you. Who has heard of data integration? Wonderful. It sounds so boring. I'm hoping that I can keep it really interesting for you today. And then how many of you, this is kind of just an interesting question, how many of you use Salesforce alongside of another application in your business? So almost everybody. You use some other type of application. How many of you have those systems integrated together? Okay, so a few. All right, so this presentation is really just going to be about why we find that data integration is so important. Our focus at Scribe is really customer data integration. So we don't really focus on just integrating all of your data to one place or integrating all of your data to one system. We really focus on bringing your customer data from different systems into other applications to make it easier for your users to use that data. So just an agenda for the presentation today. I'll do a little Scribe overview. I'll talk a little bit about us because we have to do that in the beginning. Then we'll do a couple fast facts, industry fast facts about a survey that we've done for the past 2 years at Scribe, and then also some Gartner information. We'll talk about some common challenges that people have in business with integration and with different applications that they're using. And then we'll actually have a demo of Scribe Online, our cloud platform, and I think you guys will find it really interesting. A lot of you said you were admins in here, and some of you are really business users. I am a business user. I am a marketing person at Scribe. I promise you, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not an extremely technical person, but I'm a business user. So I'm able to use Salesforce at a very high level, and I can actually do integration on Scribe. I can write integrations. Maybe not some of those things that our system integrator partners do, but I can really actually set these integrations up and work on them myself. And then we'll talk about a customer success story. We really wanted to have a customer in here today. We just weren't able to get one. But we'll talk about a success story that is very recent of LED Source. They're actually using Scribe Online and very successful with it. All right. So a little overview. We, again, are in the customer data integration space, so we don't focus, a lot of you have heard master data management and all of those different terms. We really focus on the customer data, so marketing automation, CRM, support systems, that's really where we focus, and finance systems is really where we focus. We're an established market leader. We do have cloud, premise, and hybrid solutions. So a lot of people are all about the cloud, but to be honest, most of our customers, about probably 80% of them, are doing some sort of cloud to premise integration, which we call hybrid, because we all know most of us have some type of old system that doesn't really integrate with everything else, and we still have to use it. We have an extensive partner network, so we have over 1,200 partners that work with our product that help our customers install and use Scribe, and they really do in-depth integrations. And we also have a very extensive ISV network. So companies like Financial Force, ExactTarget, Marketo, Silverpop, they're all working with us. They have connectors built on our platform, and they're really able to extend their platforms. I know you're all saying all those marketing automation tools already integrate to Salesforce, but they're actually extending things. So you know they integrate leads, contacts, and accounts, but now I can integrate my opportunities and my campaigns into my marketing automation system. So we really allow those ISVs to extend their tools. So like I said, we have a trusted partner network, 12,000 customers, over 12,000 customers now, all across the world. We do have another office in the Netherlands, but we are based right here in Manchester, right up at the Brady Sullivan Tower up the street. And then just some awards that we've won. We are always part of the SIIA Cody Award, so that's pretty cool. Just a quick list of some customers that we have. We're really broad right across all the industries. This year was a really cool year for us because we went over the number of 15 different sports teams that we work with. Oklahoma City Thunder is one that I can just remember off the top of my head, but it's really kind of neat for us. We work with lots of different companies, and a lot of them are very successful using the integration tools. So just a few fast facts. So I'm not trying to bore you with these fast facts, but what we really have found is we've done a study for the past 2 years called the State of Data Integration. And last year we had almost 1,000 people fill out this survey. And what it really told us is that almost all of the people that filled it out feel that integration is extremely important to their company. But that number up in the right-hand corner, 16%, is the number of companies that feel that they actually have all of their apps fully integrated. So what that tells us is there's just this huge space for people that want to integrate things, but most of the time they find that it's too challenging, or it's too time-consuming, too costly, and why should I even step in and try to start integrating all of these systems, because people aren't going to want to have to make a change, right? So our big thing, like with the customer data integration, is we want to make it easy for people to get the data that they need. We want to make it easy for a salesperson to have all their finance data in Salesforce, so they don't have to use Salesforce and a finance system. They can just live in the one place that they work every single day. And then we really, the saving time thing is a huge one for us. So we spend so much time going in between all of these different systems. Why waste any of that time? If you're really integrated, then you can get all of the data that you need from one app into the other, and you really don't have to waste the time going back and forth. So integration's a priority, and we really need to make sure that we are bringing all of the data that we have into the application that we're using every day. It's very collaborative, and the funny thing is we've actually found almost half of the customers that we've worked with this year, integration really isn't just an IT function anymore. It is about our marketing, our CIOs and our CMOs and our VPs of sales and our CEOs coming together and saying, my teams aren't working effectively. We need to make sure that we have them working as effectively as they can and really getting all of the information that they need. So some of just the examples that we've used, I just talked about sales getting finance information, but if my salesperson closes an order and submits that, at Scribe, our salespeople close orders, and that information is automatically integrated into our finance system. There's no paper processing, and there's no manual data entry. So, and then once our finance team actually submits that order to the customer and it's paid, that paid invoice then gets sent right back into Salesforce. So my salespeople don't have to even look at our finance system. And we're a Salesforce user. So our Salesforce people are in Salesforce and they're looking, and when their customers have paid for an order or that's all set, they can just go right into Salesforce and see I have a paid invoice or I have a past due invoice, and then they can call them up. You can set up alerts and all these different things. Support tickets. If our support team has a support ticket that opens up for one of my, if I was an account executive and my customer had a support ticket open, that information would be automatically integrated into Salesforce, and I wouldn't need to go to the support team to find that out because it's there right in front of me. So if I'm watching my top 10 customers, then I'm making sure, okay, I need to look to see if they have a support ticket open. If it's been open for more than a day, I want to call them and make sure that everything is still working for them. So what's our value prop? I've already mentioned some of these things, but the real value proposition for us is that it's simple and fast. Like I said, I'm a business user. I know Salesforce really well. I know a little bit of the back end. I've really kind of become our company's a little bit of a DBA for sales and marketing at my company, even though I'm not trained for it. I still kind of get the technology behind it. So I can understand how to integrate my system because I'm really just the business user. I understand how Salesforce works, and I can understand how my marketing automation system or the finance system at my company works. Now, I certainly don't write all of the formulas and all these things, but in the base level, I can actually work with our product and make sure that I'm the one that can control the integration, even if I didn't build the entire thing out. Let's see. So connecting multiple applications, again, just a big focus on easy. And when you see the tool, I think it'll speak for itself. It's really like putting together a puzzle. And I promise when you see it, I think you'll be really impressed. And then great partnerships. So over 1,200 partners that use Scribe for integration and integrate for their customers. and really just a technical framework to create solutions fast. So our partners and our ISV partners are building solutions that are repeatable and reusable on our platform. So anybody that's a partner in here, if you integrate multiple customers, sort of the same system, you're integrating Salesforce to some other application, you can write that integration for that one customer and then reuse that each time for that other customer. So it's really repeatable and reusable and very easy. And then we also have programs for ISVs to build connectors to our platform. So when they, SilverPop and ExactTarget came to us and they said we want to be able to extend our integrations into other environments, not just Salesforce. SilverPop's integrating other CRM systems, for example, and ExactTarget was doing the same. And we have lots more connectors. I'll kind of talk about them at the end. But right now, let's see, kind of just quickly go over. So what are we going to talk about today? So we're going to show you guys how we integrate Salesforce into other applications. The things on the right are just some of the other apps that we connect into. We'll go over a list of them. But really, bringing your customer data to the hands of people that touch those customers every day and need to have that information. So with that, I will get Rich up here, and we'll do a little demonstration.
Good morning, everybody. Rich Rodacey with Scribe Software. I'm a sales engineer at the company. My personal welcome to you. It's always nice to be able to share our product with you, our technology, and as Scott had mentioned, I think at the end of the day today, you'll have a good feel as to how easy integration can be by using the Scribe Online platform. The underlying theme that you heard from Scott was being able to provide data at its point of need, and it's all about accelerating the pace of your business. And what does that mean? Well, when you've got disparate applications and there's no integration happening between those, obviously there's more work involved in terms of being able to provide that data at its point of need. So that's what Scribe Online is all about. That's all we do at Scribe Software is data integration. So what I wanted to show you today is how Scribe Online can facilitate the movement of that data between these disparate applications. The applications could be in the cloud, they could be on-premise, or a combination of both, which we refer to as hybrid. So what you're seeing here on the display today is the Scribe Online platform. I'm currently logged in. We are a cloud-based solution. And when you spin up an instance of Scribe Online, the first thing that you want to do is associate an organization name to it. So I'm logged in with my credentials and my password. And as you can see at the top right of the screen is the organization that I'm logged into. So if you work for company ABC, then your organization name could be ABC. So I'm logged into my organization here. Now, some of the neat features about Scribe Online is that it is a multi-tenant and a multi-user environment. And what does that mean? Well, from a multi-tenant perspective, I'm going to put on my consultant hat at this point, and I'm going to say that, well, I've got many customers that I support from an integration perspective. As opposed to me having to hop a plane, get in my car to go down and help this particular customer, via this one login within my organization, I can simply come up here to the very top, and I can click on the organization pull down, and I can see all my various customers' deployments here. So I can simply select any one of those, and from there, I can jump right into the integrations that currently exist. If they asked me to provide some additional integration work, I can easily add additional integrations. And once I'm done, I can go back to my own organization. So very easy with an internet connection to hop from your base organization to any one of these other organizations to be able to fulfill the consulting requirement that you've been hired to do. So very collaborative, as Scott had mentioned, with respect to a multi-tenant environment. The other feature that I wanted to share with you before we jump into the product is a multi-user environment. And what does that mean? Well, again, I'm Rich, I'm a consultant, and I support my X amount of customers. However, there's this one integration that I've been hired to do, and maybe I'm not too comfortable with an Oracle database. So what I can do is I can come into my organization once again, and I can click on users over here, and I can actually invite one of my colleagues to join me in the development of this particular integration. That person, when I click on invite here, all I need to do is very simply fill out this dialog, which has the email address in it, the role, whether it's going to be a user role or possibly an administrative type role, and put in a nice little invitation message to make sure that you can get that person to help you in terms of collaborating on this particular integration design. Now, once that person has accepted the invitation, they will basically log in and they will now end up at my organization. Once that person has fulfilled the integration requirement for that particular business use case that we're trying to address, I can simply remove that person from my organization and they no longer have access to my organization. They may belong to other organizations and they will still be a part of those orgs, but for mine, they will be removed from mine. So multi-tenant and multi-user environment within this single instance of Scribe Online. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the integration piece of this. And Scott was basically hinting how easy it is to use this product. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to just take you into some existing integrations that we have. So what you can see here on a screen, the very top section, is the integration services. You can see the little banner there, Integration Services, IS. Down below here, we also have Replication Services, RS. So just a little bit of background about Scribe Online is when we first came out with Scribe Online, and again, we've been in business since the mid-1990s in terms of doing integration. We have an on-premise application as well as now a cloud application. Two mutually exclusive products, two development paths within Scribe software, and totally dedicated to that particular environment, on-premise and in the cloud. So when we came out with Scribe Online, the first module that we came out with was the replication services, the lower half of the screen that you're looking at. And I'm not going to spend too much time on RS, but I just want to give you an idea as to what that module is all about. A lot of companies want to move to the cloud. They want to get their data to the cloud, and for good reasons. Small footprint, less IT involvement, upgrades are transparent to the organization. So there's certainly good reasons to do that. And what we found was, in talking with customers and prospects, is that sometimes they feel a step removed from that data that is now in the cloud. So what they like to do is be able to replicate that data set down to a local SQL Server database, MySQL database, or an Oracle database so that they can do the things with that data that they once did before it went online. So that's what replication service is all about. This module will allow you to replicate your Salesforce data, and you can pick and choose what objects, what entities that you would like to replicate down to your local database of your choice. And then on a frequency that you can set up to run, it'll go ahead and capture the net change events that would happen up in Salesforce. So a nice module. That was the first module that we came out with to really support that industry where they're requiring replication of data down to a local database. Now, my focus today is going to be on integration services, which is the top half. And you can see in here I have highlighted what we refer to as a solution. And a solution basically is a pre-configured solution that has multiple data maps in it to support a specific business use case. Now, we do at Scribe Software, we create these solutions and we make them available up on our website as free downloads. The one that you're seeing here is actually a free download, so you can download this and use it as it is. And if you wanted to extend or subtract from it, you can certainly do that as well. Very easy to use. One of our sayings at Scribe Software is that integration does not have to be difficult, and we really believe that. And once again, when we get through this demonstration, hopefully you'll have a good idea as to how easy it is, and you can create your own integrations just like Scott does. So what we're looking at here is a solution named GP2 from Salesforce. Let me go ahead and open this up. And inside it, when you first log in, you can see that there's 4 tabs at the very top. First tab, which is the default one, and you sequentially walk through these if you were going to create a brand new solution using Scribe Online. The first section, the first tab, is the general tab. And this is basically where you give it a name for the integration, something that would make sense. And then down below here, some additional descriptive information that would be specific to that integration that you're trying to build out. Once that's in place, again, walk to the next tab, which is your agent tab. So what's an agent? Well, an agent is basically a small piece of code that runs within a company's organization. We have 2 types of agents. We have an on-premise agent and a cloud-based agent. And the whole role of the agent is to interpret the design maps that are created, those solutions that I talked about, interpret what they need to connect into, what the linking is between those endpoints, and then any transformation functions that are associated to those links. How do I need to condition that data as that data moves forward into the target? So an agent is to basically, every so often, it phones home. It says, do I have any work to do? And Scribe Online talks to the agent, and they constantly working together to be able to support the integration based on the solution that you have created. So that's what the agent is. Now, mentioned we have an on-premise agent and we have a cloud-based agent. On-premise-based agent is when you use an on-premise-based agent is when you have both an on-premise-based application that you want to integrate with, as well as a cloud-based application. Or if I just want to do on-prem to on-prem, then you'd use an on-premise agent. So the whole notion there in terms of using an on-premise agent is that your data is secure behind your firewall. Maybe it's an ERP system. And we don't want you to have to, we're a cloud-based application, right? We don't want you to have to open up any ports. So what we do is we spin up and install an agent within your infrastructure behind your firewall, and then that on-premise agent talks to your, let's say, your ERP application that's behind your firewall. And then on the other side, if it's going to Salesforce, it basically tunnels through the HTTPS protocol, makes connection, and then integration happens between those endpoints. A cloud-based agent is whenever you have strictly cloud-based applications that you want to integrate. So we will spin up an agent for you in the cloud, and there's no footprint whatsoever. I'm not saying the footprint is large at all. I mean, it just runs as a Windows service if you're doing an on-premise agent, very small. But if you're doing cloud-to-cloud integration, then you'd use a cloud agent, and we spin that up in the cloud, and you see nothing within your organization with regards to Scribe Online. So a little bit more than I wanted to share with you about agents, but I want to make sure that you understood what that was all about. Let's go to the third tab here, and this is the Maps tab. And as you can see in here, I've got quite a few maps. And this, again, is an example of a solution pack that we at Scribe Software created to support the order-to-invoicing process between Salesforce and Dynamics GP. And we've got a lot of customers that have the combination of those two applications. So what we've done was you created an order in Salesforce. That order can move down into the back office, Dynamics GP. I can add some additional data to it. Maybe I wanted to put an account on credit hold as an example, or maybe add another line item. That integration will then run and then move that data back up into Salesforce. If I want to go ahead and create an invoice in the back office ERP application, in this case Dynamics GP, I can invoice it, and that invoicing status would flow back up into Salesforce, letting that CRM user have complete visibility into the back office without having to log in, as Scott had mentioned earlier. So I wanted to take you into one of these solution maps, and this is really where the fun is. I've been working with Scribe for almost 8 years now, and one of the things that I found very attractive with Scribe Online is that I started off using our on-premise application. And it was a challenge initially to work with it, but once you get the hang of it and you understand how to navigate through the application, it's really easy to build out an integration. However, when Scribe Online came out, it was just a brand new world. It was like, where have you been all my life? I mean, this is really fun. So let me go ahead and open up a solution here, and it's this one at the very top. It's called ERP Accounts to Salesforce. And what you're seeing here is a split screen. On the left-hand side of the screen, basically, think of it as your sketch pad. This is where you build your integration, a logical graphical representation of how you want data to flow between the various endpoints that you're setting up. On the right side of the screen there is basically my palette of functional block commands. You can see here I've got a source section on the right. This is called, actually in this case I'm connecting into Dynamics GP. Actually this GP application that you're seeing here, me connected into, is actually at our office up on Elm Street. Down below here, our Salesforce instance as well. So sitting here on this Mac, connecting into their infrastructure, I can go out and I can do integrations here. And just as I had mentioned to you earlier, where you can set up your environment to support multi-tenant, this is an example of what that would look like. So a source connection, basically connecting into GP, and then down below here I have a target connection. Anytime that you connect into these various endpoints, and you have many different ways to do that, you can just basically click on the pull down and say I want to connect into one of these existing connections. Or if I wanted to create a brand new one, you click on the new button. Up comes a dialog. Basically fill in the parameters, and you can now connect into that particular application. With those endpoints in place, you will then be displayed the functional blocks that you see down here. There's a create, there's a delete, a lookup, query. Very, very easy to understand with regards to the logic that eventually is going to build out your integration, which you see on the left-hand side of the screen. Down below a little bit further, you can see there's the target section. In this case, I'm connecting into Salesforce. Just connecting into the endpoint of Salesforce, providing the credentials. Sometimes you'll need to use a token to be able to add some additional privacy to it. So you can certainly do that within the connection as well. And then you can see it's color-coded too. So my source is in this little pink color, and my target is in this green color. And the reason that we color code is because you can have multiple endpoints. So if I wanted to connect into Salesforce, and then maybe I want to connect into an Oracle database or a SQL Server database, or another ERP application. So each one of those connections you associate a color to. So as you build out the logic that you see on the left side of the screen here, you'll see the color code, and you'll easily know which endpoints that you're connecting into. If I scroll just a bit further down here, you can see we have a control block section. And you can see inside there, we've got things like for each child, for each result, if then else type blocks. So very logical in terms of being able to build this. Just a little bit of background here about the interface. This interface was built on a technology called Scratch. I don't know if you've heard it. There's a school called MIT. They have a division called the Media Labs, and they actually came up with this interface. Our director of development has some young kids, and he wanted to be able to help them logically think through various scenarios. And so he actually installed that application. If you go to MIT, you can search for Scratch, and you can actually download it. You can see what we're talking about. But he saw that, and he used that for his children, and he found a tremendous difference in the way that they interpret things logically. So what he wanted to do was bring that technology into Scribe software and really be a game changer in terms of integration. And again, back to the whole concept of integration does not have to be difficult. So what you're seeing on the left-hand side of the screen here is just created with a drag and drop from my right side to my left. I'm going to show you how I can do a quick update in terms of the user interface. So you can see here, let me just explain what you're seeing. On the left-hand side of the screen, we have the first block there which says query my ERP accounts. All right, query, just go into that endpoint database, ERP, and go pull back my accounts. Now I can go into each one of these blocks, and I can add some additional parameters. So I can say, only get me the accounts that the account is not on credit hold. So I can start to do filtering and get a more granular record set in terms of what I'm querying from that database. Then the next step here, you can see the results returned from ERP. What do I want to do with it? Well, in this case, I just added an upsert block, which basically connects into Salesforce, and it does an upsert of those accounts that are pulled back from that query. Pretty simple, right? Now, I'm just going to go ahead and modify this one and show you a little bit about how you can go ahead and create these. So this upsert account into Salesforce, I'm just going to pull out of the picture here. I'm just going to set it aside. Now, that's still an active block, but it's not a part of that solution or that logic that you see there. It's basically kind of sitting on the side. If I wanted to reuse it, just drag it right back in place. So the results that come back from my query, what do I want to do? Well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to go out into Salesforce, and I'd like to perform a lookup. I want to see if that account exists. So what you can do is you can come over here and grab your lookup block, put it in place. I am now going to perform a lookup. Now you'll notice that there's a little X here. That's an indication that I need to add some additional parameters. Well, I'm saying I want to use a lookup, but I need to tell it what I want to look up. So all you do is you just double click on it, and another dialog comes up, and this is where you go ahead and pick the entity that you want to look up. So I'm connecting into Salesforce, as you see up here. I have all my standard, my custom entities, anything that's built on the Force.com platform, we can actually expose and surface it here within the connector. So those would then be available to you for your particular integration. So in this case, maybe I just wanted to go ahead and say I want to connect into account. And then I can come up here and say, well, what's the lookup criteria? Do I want to make sure that the name that I'm querying on my source matches the name in my target? I can go through that process and do the lookup criteria. And then I can choose what fields I want to bring back. So I'm not going to go into too much depth there, but nonetheless, it's basically drag and drop to be able to build that out. So I'm performing a lookup, and then if I find what I'm looking for, maybe I want to update it. And if I don't find what I'm looking for, let's go ahead and insert. So the key word there is if. So let's go ahead and grab the if block, drag that into place. I now have an if statement. So if then where clause, right? Very logical once again. So if I find what I'm looking for, let's go ahead and update it. So I'm going to grab the update block from my Salesforce endpoint connection. I now have that in place. Just going to scroll down just a bit here. And then we have an else block. So if I don't find what I'm looking for, let's go ahead and insert it. So I can say use the create if I want to. So now I have that in place. There is my lean logic. It's all drag and drop, drill down into each one of these to be able to satisfy the parameters that need to be in place to be able to have this data map working for you. So very simple to build out. A couple other things that I wanted to share with you. Once you have your maps in place, you can actually, and Scott had mentioned this earlier, that you can actually export these. So I'm a consultant, not really, but if I'm a consultant and I wanted to be able to share these with my colleagues that are other side of the world, I can just go ahead and select any one of these or all of them, whatever I want to do, and I can actually export them. And we export them as an XML file, very portable. We can drop them on SkyDrive. We can put them up on Dropbox. We can put them on a network drive. And that person that I am giving these to, they simply click on them, do an import, the reverse, and all they need to do at that point is just connect into their endpoints. And then they can use the logic that I have already created. So very portable to be able to support the repeating, as Scott had mentioned earlier in his presentation, the repeating of the designs that you have created. So once your designs are created, you can actually go through a debug process within the application. So I can step through each one of my blocks. So I can step through the query, and I can actually see what's coming back. I can do a lookup, and I can see what it's looking up based on the parameters that I've applied. So very engaging in terms of being able to build out these maps. Once the maps are tested and you feel comfortable that it's going to produce the results that you would expect, I can go ahead and move on and set my, my schedule tab. So how often do I want this to run? Do I want it run it on demand, at my leisure? Right-click on it and say run. Or maybe I want to set it on some sort of schedule that would make sense. I want it to run on some particular date at a particular time. I could do that as well. Or if I want to be really granular, I can say run it on a recurring basis and maybe only run it on the weekend. Or maybe during the week between the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. so as not to degrade the overall network within an organization. So you have a lot of flexibility to set these and forget them in terms of running your particular integrations. So that's a little bit about that's the only 4 steps that you have to go through to build out your solution. What I wanted to do is come over here to the far left and talk a little bit about the marketplace. So Scott had mentioned that Scribe Online is an open system in regards to being able to create your own connectors. We have many different ISVs that have signed up with Scribe to build their own niche connector. And so what we have is a marketplace very similar to Salesforce App Exchange, certainly not as extensive in terms of the options that you have there, but nonetheless heading down that same path. So any connector that is created by an ISV or ourselves, and we do build our own, we will list them here in the Scribe marketplace. Now that marketplace, you can see that second column there. There's these little icons. Some of them have a $sign on them. Some of them are free, certainly downloadable, and you can use these to be able to build out your integrations. One of the value points in terms of having an ISV build out a niche connector is that they can put a dollar value on it, and they can actually use the ecosystem of Scribe Online to be able to provide the visibility of this connector across the whole Scribe Online domain. So anybody that's using Scribe Online, they click on the marketplace, they see the connectors, and then use them within their business. So you can see some of the ones that we have here, and we're constantly creating new ones, and we have many other ISVs that are on board in terms of building new ones. Okay, so that's a quick look at Scribe Online. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it back over to Scott.
Just up on the screen right now, Rich was just talking about some of the connectors we wanted to make sure to show you. So we have 3 different types of connectors that we have. So application connectors, you saw some of them, we talked about some of them, but application connectors are typically built by Scribe and supported by Scribe. So we connect to Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics products, ExactTarget, GoToWebinar, HubSpot, Marketo. So those are just some of those. Technology connectors, if we don't have a connector that looks like it's a system that you might want to integrate your data to or from, we can certainly work with you. We connect to MySQL, ODBC, LADB, and certainly text and those kinds of things. Some of our third-party connectors that are coming out or already out are right up on the screen for you. So those are ISVs that have come in and built their own connector for our platform. I will have Rich just talk a little bit about, we'd like to tell you a little bit about a success story with Scribe Online. So LED Source is North America's first and only franchiser of LED lighting. So Rich actually got to work a bit with LED Source, and I can hand over the mic and he can talk about it for a little bit.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Yes, this one is near and dear to me because I was involved in the initial project with LED Source. And as you can see on the slide, they've been around since 2005, and really the only vendor in that space that offers franchises with LED technology. So they came to us, and they have tried this with other integration solutions, and they didn't have the success that they were expecting. So they came to us, and obviously they had a not a very high threshold in terms of signing up with an integration partner and trusting them that it can actually be done. So we went through a statement of work with them, built out the requirements, got sign off, went through some testing, a little pilot phase of that, and really got the results that they would expect. So one of the pain points that they had before they engaged us was that they have Salesforce. Pretty much a corporate instance of Salesforce, and it's used by the corporate division. However, the franchises that they signed up would have QuickBooks Desktop. Inexpensive solution for a franchise to get involved and be able to have the ERP, the accounting application to support what they were looking for from a franchise level. So the problem that inside that was they did not have integration between Salesforce and their ERP systems, or in this case, QuickBooks. So what they did was they came to us to ask if we could help them be able to build out a solution, and they wanted an online platform to do this. And so we got involved, and we built out that, like I said, that statement of work, and we now have a running solution that's repeatable for every franchise that spins up within LED Source. We just spin up another instance of Scribe Online with the solution pack that we have already built, easily deployable. They're up and running within 30 minutes. So it's been a huge success for us. You can actually search online for LED Source, and I'm sure you'll come up with some little podcasts that we have done with our contact at LED Source, and you can certainly get some more information. So great success with Scribe Online in this particular environment with LED Source.
Thank you, Rich. So just really to end it off, so why should you use Scribe for Salesforce integration? Fast, easy to use, easy to build out. Like Rich said, it really does take days, not weeks. A lot of people have always heard integration and it's code, code, code. It's going to take me a year to get this whole thing done. And we really, that is our promise. It really is not that long. Very intuitive user interface. You saw it. It really isn't just for the IT department. I work in marketing, and I promise you that's the only department I work in. I'm not an IT person, and I really do use it. You click, and you're connected, putting together a little puzzle. Use the same solution to connect all of these different applications. It's very flexible. So if you're using a finance system like Microsoft Dynamics GP or QuickBooks, and then you switch to something different, you can certainly very easily just rip and replace instead of really having to go in and recode the entire thing. Definitely very predictable monthly costs. We don't have hidden fees. And then we have proven success. I mean, we truly do have 12,000 customers on our on-premise and our online platform, 1,200 partners, and definitely have won some awards for this. So if you want to learn more, I certainly would welcome you to go to our website, scribesoft.com/Salesforce. We have some little business cards over there with the little QR codes on them. So if you scan the QR code, it'll bring you right to that page. And then sign up for a free trial. We offer a 15-day free trial. You can actually get in, connect to your systems, and integrate some of your data. You can download our solution packs, like we said, for free and test them out. We have a customer success engineer. So if you have a free trial, get in touch with us, and we can certainly hook you up with him, and he'll actually go in and help you get connected. So we try to make it really easy for you to get in and get connected during your free trial. If you're interested in talking with someone, Charles is certainly here. He's right in the back, and he can certainly answer any more in-depth questions for you. And then our shameless little plug, we're giving away $200 Amazon gift cards. So two $100 Amazon gift cards. So go ahead and drop your business card in there. And if anybody has any questions, we can open it up, I think, for a few minutes. And anybody have any questions? Oh, here, let me,
I'm on. You talked about your, oh, hello, that's loud. Okay, so you talked about LED, the QuickBooks integration. Is that something now that other customers can, you've already built it, is that something that's ready for prime time in terms of another customer say, hey, I want that too? Obviously not exactly theirs, but that you've already built it. Is that something you avail, like one of the apps that I saw up there, you say this is one of them, QuickBooks, or no?
Absolutely, yes. Now, it's interesting in terms of LED Source. They do quote to invoicing between Salesforce and the back office. And they want products to flow from Salesforce down into the back office, which is a little bit unorthodox. I'm not saying it's wrong, but every customer does it differently. Typically what we would do is ERP would be the master of that data in terms of products, items, and that would flow into the CRM system. But in this case, it's just 180 degrees out of phase. But anything that we build, to answer your question, is certainly IP from Scribe software and certainly available for consumption. No question.
other
So,
questions?
question for you. Do you have customers that have multiple Salesforce instances? And if you do, what's the latency as far as the data availability? Or the lowest latency that you can run?
Yeah, we do have customers that have multiple instances of Salesforce. And in our mind, as far as connectivity into those endpoints, it's the same thing whether it's a single instance or multiple instance. So that's not an issue. In terms of latency, we're really, we're dependent on the internet connection, the bandwidth, how many people are hitting the endpoint within Salesforce, that kind of thing. It's hard to give you metrics on that. But I got to tell you, I've done a lot of integrations using Scribe Online as well as our on-premise applications with Salesforce and other CRM enterprise applications, and I found that Salesforce is a bit quicker than others.